Thank you so much for listening to another episode of CX Chronicles Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian Brady Chisana. All right, guys, thanks so much for listening to another episode of the CX Chronicles Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian Brady Chisana. Super pumped for today's show, guys. We have an awesome guest with us, Mr. Marcus Smith, CEO at Cloud Trailz, based out of Atlanta, Georgia. Marcus, say hello to the CX Nation, my friend.
Hey. Happy to be here.
So, number one, Marcus, I was pumped to have you on the show. I absolutely loved our last couple conversations. You are in a very, very cool business in a very cool time and place with Cloud Trailz, helping your customers with all things Salesforce, Salesforce Utilization, Salesforce Optimization, Salesforce training, coaching, all that. So I was pumped to have you on the show, man, and talk about not just customer experience, but talk through the 4 CX pillars and highlight some of the awesome you and your team at Cloud Trailz are doing today. So why don't you start off today's episode, man? Set the stage. Take a minute or two to kind of introduce yourself to the CX Nation. How did you get into this type of work, and talk about some of the things that you guys are doing?
Okay. The first thing I tell anybody about me being in this work is like I'm not the typical person. Like a lot of the guys are like RevOps guys. They've been in the RevOps part of the business. They have this view of what the work is. Well, my background is in product. So I've been a product manager and like a project manager putting things together. So I'm all about just, what does the customer want out of this thing? Most of the time, the customer doesn't want wildly complex Salesforce builds. They just really need to get their job done. And a lot of people lose sight of that. So that's just kind of how I started making our path in this business. So I took a bunch of things that I didn't like about how it worked before and just obliterated them. So there's no hourly billing.
And Marcus, like, as you're talking about, everyone's got a love-hate relationship with Salesforce, right? It's like, it's one of the biggest CRMs it is the biggest on planet Earth, but like, it can be difficult to use, it can be cumbersome. If you work at a company or if you work for a manager that doesn't have a Marcus or a Cloud Trailz who's helping to support and coach and literally help push along, it can be a difficult tool, man.
Well, I appreciate that. But the reality is, it's as difficult as the company and the people with the keys make it. Like, you get it out the box, it's just out of the box. It's just a plain tool. And I look at it like, how my dad's an electrician. So the same way my dad would look at a hammer or a saw or anything like that. You got to get the right tool out to do the job. And I think sometimes people with the keys to Salesforce look at it and go, I'm going to make the Taj Mahal. Now, did anybody ask you for the Taj Mahal? Does anybody need it? Not really. But now you have like emotionally invested in your creation. So you give people your creation. But the reality is people need it to probably do 5 or 10 things to do their job. And it just gets expanded. So yeah, a lot of times it is difficult or hard because no one has went, hey, this is a work tool. We actually need it to do these 8 things and then we'll stop. And it's like, no, we won't stop. We're gonna keep on shining. And it's like, why?
Marcus, one of the last full-time roles that I had as a head of CX practitioner at a company here called ACV Auctions in Buffalo, New York. That last comment you just made about let's just keep going, let's just keep building. Number one, it was a unicorn, so it was fast growing. There was a ton of people coming on board every single day. Salesforce was going to be board certified and obviously the tool to grow upon. And some of my best friends in that business, they were some of our Salesforce engineers and architects and solutions architects. And your last comment about let's just keep building, I mean, it can get as expansive and as wild as you want. Part of why Mr. Benioff and Salesforce have built the behemoth that they've built is because it can do everything. But a lot of times, especially come back to SMB land, come back to small, medium businesses, come back to some of our founders and our business owners that are listening. Contacts are, we need to know who our customers are. We need to know what activities we've done. We need to be able to stratify and compartmentalize who's who. And then we got to be able to have some type of support to remind us what the hell we need to do to keep pushing the business forward. So you're right. It's like, it's one of these things that can very easily become.
And man, I'll tell you something, a secret about the enterprise people too. The best ones I've seen are clean and simple. The best ones. They're clean, they're simple. And the people know what to do and they have business rhythms around it. If you need it to be complex, that's fine. But as you know, simplicity grows, simplicity scales. Making it complex. And I love engineers. They got to feed their families. But you set an engineer loose for a year, tell them to write code, they're going to write code.
Marcus, let's jump into the first pillar of team. Talk about Cloud Trailz, man. Talk about the business that you're running today. You're the CEO of Cloud Trailz. Tell us a little bit about the business. How did you guys come about building the business? What does your team look like today? And give us a sense for the folks that are coming together every single day to delight some of your customers at Cloud Cloud Trailz?
So I'll start with team because I think that the team is kind of a reflection of what I want in my background. So my background is industrial and systems engineering, and I apply that to work. So I apply the theory that 95% of the time spent at work is waste. And if you actually look at what people do, it is people waste a ton of time. So when I look at it, I'll outline what is useful, what is not. And I say, hey, I'm the customer. I'm paying you. All I need you to do is the things that are of value. And surprisingly, that shocks the hell out of people. When you say, hey, there's 10 things I need you to do today. And if you just do them, I actually don't care what time you stop. I just need you to do the work. It attracts a certain kind of person and it repels another kind of person.
Yep.
And I, for one, was very surprised by it because I thought everybody woke up to go to work. And I found out.
No way, man. Look, there's a reason why there's 1% of folks that build businesses, run businesses, try to grow businesses, are crazy and dumb enough to think it's going to work again and again and again, man. There's a reason.
Yeah. So I tend to attract, and we start to do it because you see it in interviews now. I tend to attract people that want to get it done and they don't have a need for some of the peripheral stuff. And it jumps out at me right in interviews now because I know what to ask. When you ask the person what do they value, and you kind of hear what they say and go, okay,
sure,
this just might not be the environment for you. Because for me, I look at business because I'm an engineer. Like I understand, hey, your business is here to serve customers and turn a profit, and you got to kind of turn the right gears to be able to do it. Especially when you're small, you don't have the luxury of having people around who aren't ready to turn the gear or move through the roadmap, and you got to look for it and go, hey. I had to tell somebody a month ago. I just think you're more of a middle market kind of person. Like you're looking to do things that you can do in a middle market company versus if I'm assigning cash to you, there's already 10 or 15 things that I know you need to do. And you got to have it in your mind that, hey, I'm actually here to put the scaffolding down. I'm actually here to put the wood down. Like I'm not here to shine it just yet. So for me, that's where we are. I'm with people where I say, hey, man, we got 15 things to do this quarter, and I just need you to do them. And when they're done, let's review them and let's move on. Which I'm telling you, I thought that was everybody. And then I found out it's a very small percentage of people that respond very well to that. Some people just do not.
It's tough, man. I think one of the biggest things that we hear time and time again on the CXChronicles podcast from all of these guests, Marcus, most people will say the team's the most important pillar. I mean, that makes sense. That's an easy one to say. But back up to what you were just saying, there's a reason why all of these incredible customer-focused business leaders say that, because finding incredible, autonomous, independent, driven, committed, trustworthy people in today's world is extremely difficult, brother. And it's about to get way harder because those folks, a part of this whole AI revolution and part of this whole disruption that's already starting and already about to change the world of the world, those folks are going to be really well suited for how they're going to be some of the future leaders that pick that stuff up and run forward with it. And like, so man, you're spot on where finding those type of people, number one, is really difficult. Retaining and keeping those people is even harder, man. So like we're entering a really interesting world as entrepreneurs and as business owners and business leaders right now, and we say it all the time on the show, but like CX is impossible without world-class EX, right? Employee experience. And really kind of thinking about both of those camps more than ever before is going to be huge.
Yeah. And I think for me, the thing that I think I do the best that helps there is I try to do stuff that I liked. So for me, if you ever hear me talking about what I'm doing, it's kind of a removal of stuff that I didn't like before. I think a person who wants to come to work wants to be kind of told what to do. High level, they want the metrics, they want to know how to get there, and then they want you out of their face. So if you kind of look at how our stuff works, I go, hey, this is what we need. Now I will be well out of your face up until this date when we check on it. As long as we're good to go, we're good to go. And if you need me, you know how to find me. And what I found is that works really well for people who are just trying to be productive. It doesn't work well for some other people, but that's why I said again too, it's almost like once I get someone in, I can say, hey, do these projects. And I think what resonates with people is, I tell them, because it's true, I don't know why people don't want to say this, I know you're not working all day. And I tell people that in the interview, I tell them that internally, you're not a robot. I don't expect you to work all day. I expect you to be able to produce certain things and show that productivity.
Absolutely.
I've seen time and time again, people will resonate with that because I'll say, look, man, if you're done at 11 a.m., good for you. I'm not going to generate a bunch of other stuff that we're not going to use. We're not going to use it anyway. So if you're done at 11 a.m., and you want to go to the park or go swimming or go golfing or whatever you need to do, knock yourself out.
Yep. Results, man. Not results, not time in. Marcus, tell us about like some of the customers that you guys are working with today, Cloud Trailz, and that your team's working with, what's like the main two or three things that you guys are doing every single day to serve your clients at Cloud Trailz?
Number one thing we do is explain the possibilities of Salesforce. Because it's so big, because it's so expansive, because it's so ever present, people have a lot of curiosity about what it can do. And nobody wants to dig through help articles or
Absolutely not.
videos or whatever the case
Absolutely
may be
not.
when they can just grab somebody. And for us, I'm not charging you hourly. So you could technically ask me as much as you want. It tends to be 5 or 10 times a month. Someone will have an idea and ask us a question. But you get a live person on the phone and say, hey, I'm trying to do this. Does it do that? What if we wanted to do this? And you don't get taxed for it. And if I call my lawyer and ask him, does this do that? It's $700, right?
I like that.
But
That's super fair.
yeah, you get to see people like they're not. I've been in places where people are they're just afraid because they know if you're talking to me at my hourly rate at $200 an hour, let's yap it up. And then you may or may not even get value out of it, and you got an invoice. Number one is people asking, what does it do? And I mean, to be honest, that's probably 1 and 2, just what does it do? After that, surprisingly, it's just, I wouldn't say surprisingly, I would just call it minor tweaks. Customers, we've had 2,500 support tickets. And out of those 2,500 tickets, we've done something that was like a major redefinition, I think like 6 times.
Okay.
Customers don't look at their CRM and imagine massive waves of change. They're trying to do something this quarter or, this half, and it has to do with like how they sell or how they take advantage of information. That's why I said consultants tend to not like me because I'm sitting there and go, man, no customers are asking you for this, what we call them it. Cross-functional transformation. Customers don't talk like that.
Do I say that? No, I'm kidding. But you're right. It's true. It's true because like with some of these bigger organizations, go onto your point right there, and I love it. And by the way, I think from the record, I think consultants, guys, as I keep talking about the AI shift, consultants I think are in trouble. There's going to be, again, I think there's going to be 20% of them that are totally good to go. Many of us are going to be screwed because, number one, what you're saying right there, to elaborate on it, a company that has hundreds or thousands of employees, and the Marcus, to your point of like, you understand, primary needs that Cloud Trailz provides. What are things that I need to know about this? Or what are things that you can help me do right now to use this better? It becomes hard with hundreds or thousands of employees to not start to pull out these absurd words like cross transformation, organizational change, because it's like, dude, the change management. Whereas on a small business, small team, like some of our clients at CXC, where we got like 20 people using HubSpot, 20 people using Intercom, different ballgame. Typically, we're building dashboards, reports, utilization, visibility with maybe like 2 or 3 people, 2 or 3 sales leaders or customer success or marketing leaders. And then we're just helping with training and utilization for the rest of the salespeople. That's a little bit easier. That's where you're trying to knock shit out. You're trying to focus on utilization, usability. But with these bigger companies, it becomes a more complex, cumbersome type of a thing to do. But Marcus, let's jump in a second.
There's something I'll remind people sometimes when they talk about bigger companies. The Fortune 500 is 500 companies. I mean, if you go look at the landscape of businesses in the United States, the majority of them are small and medium. So I think we like to talk about the enterprise businesses, but we're talking about, not much.
100%. And then not only that, for businesses like CXChronicles, Cloud Trailz, half of the venture capital backed startup companies that we've had on this show, 500s aren't dicking around with us. Fortune 500s from a service and from a technology and from you're right. They literally are supported in any of the partners that they have are probably other Fortune 500 companies or other Fortune 500 built suppliers and vendors that are literally built and curtailed for them. So, no, you're spot on. I'd love to jump into second pillar tools. Can you talk about, outside of Salesforce, what are some of the tools that you guys use at Cloud Trailz, or what are some of the tools and some of the software that and maybe even some of the AI functionality that you guys are using at Cloud Trailz or that you're seeing your customers using at Cloud Trailz?
So I am a big, like a utilitarian person. So we don't have a massive toolkit, to be honest with you, man. We got Salesforce. And what I say is, I pay for Salesforce. Y'all need to use it. So we got Salesforce, we got Slack. And we're about to expand our marketing toolkit. We do Microsoft ads now, and works out really well just because there's not a lot of competition in there for us. So we can test out a lot of stuff in there. We do Google ads, and that's basically it, man. You know what? I know why I'm like this. So when I grew up as a kid, we were probably right above the poverty line, right? So when I would get a video game, there was no 5 or 6 video games. There's you got this game. Don't ask me anything until you beat this game. You need to be a master. You need to master this game.
Master it.
So like for me, it's like there will. I mean, the toolkit will probably get slightly bigger. Like I think that we will be practitioners of like with Agent Force. I think we will learn it cold, and then we'll have to convince customers to use it. I may get kicked off the internet for saying that, but like we'll have to convince people to use these AI tools because it takes work to be ready. And then it takes, you said, change management, acceptance of the tool and acceptance of error from the tool. What I've seen a lot of people do is just, they don't want it anyway because they're kind of afraid of it. And the first time it makes a mistake, they go, so, and even internally
they lose all respect and all trust for it. Yeah.
So for us, we'll always be thin, and it'll be, if we're expanding, master.
I love it. First of all, look, this is a drum that I've been fucking pounding on for the entire year, which is, and I love this. I love how you're giving it a different, and guys, I'm going to keep bringing this up because it is a big damn deal. The world spends $1.27 trillion a year on software. Okay. Well, it's that is growing at a compound annual growth rate of 15 to 20%. Reports suggest the best companies on planet Earth only utilize said software to a 30% clip. That's the best companies in the world. Marcus, think about some of the clients and some of the customers that we work with and that we have the pleasure of being able to help and to support. We know it's way lower than that. So way lower than that in some cases. And then not everyone is like a Cloud Trailz or like a CXC where we've only got a handful of tools, because we focus on the art of mastery and utilization for a small number of tools and disallow or almost don't even permit the need or the very common error of over applying all of this and then bolting on with shitty bolts and they don't fit and the connectors aren't right. So then you lose information. Companies, everyone's going to talk about silos and all that jazz, but like silos is one thing, but if your plumbing and your electrical and all that is already built shittily, like information's not going to flow, information's not going to exchange, then you have no chance of silos being able to see aggregated views of information and data. So it's like, it is a really big, and I guess I think, and I'd love to kind of push into this next part of the question, which is like, and this is all before AI, guys, just completely flips everything upside down. So like, Marcus, is there anything that you're seeing with your clients on the AI front that you've been finding interesting? Is there comfortability? Is there fear? Is there things that they're asking you guys about specifically as it relates to Salesforce and AI?
I think in order for us to get customers comfortable with it, we'd have to add, I'd almost call it like an AI comfort service to our business. Because what people have like a very disjointed views of what it will do. So some people will come in and they're looking for it to do their job, like flat out. And they're very disappointed when you explain that, hey, it will not just do your job. A surprising number of people just don't understand that garbage in is garbage out and that they have to alleviate that pain first and you have to do it very well first. So we've had that conversation, I'd say maybe with like 15% of the customers, and people don't have, I would say, either time or interest to do it because it is going in like deep cleaning your house before you lay AI on top of it. So I say that people have a desire, but they also, it's like me, I've had to, lose weight a couple of times. First thing you got to do is clean that pantry out.
Yeah.
First thing you got to do. And, sometimes it sucks. I like potato chips. And you got chips out. It's like, I don't know,
it's you're so right though. That example, we like my team at CXC, we've been talking about, there's a bunch of awesome things we've been working on to finish up the year. One of the big things that we're super proud of and that we've just been pushing out into the world is our CXC Health Zone. Right, you can check it out at the CXChronicles website, Health Zone. But it's a way of giving people an ability of seeing how they stack rank across the 4 CX pillars: team, tools, process, feedback. But Marcus, what you just said, one of the biggest things that we really kind of talked about in the storytelling around it is how, like, we've been taught we're almost at 300 episodes of the 4 CX pillars. But with AI, what we've been talking about is like, we've really, this year started last year, but this year we've really had to pick up the 4 pillars and absolutely slide a new AI powered foundation below it, because, and it's funny because we're talking about like, oh, is this the 5th pillar? And then the more we talked about it, we're like, no, and then when you just said cleaning out the pantry, or building your foundation for what the strategy is going to be to get to whatever goals you're going after, whether it's losing the 20 pounds or whether it's getting a little bit better this year with leveraging one or two AI tools across your company. That's been a game changer, man, in terms of just kind of lifting those pillars up, sliding an AI foundation under it, and then with our customers really kind of showing them, look, this is here whether you're comfortable, not comfortable, are going to invest, aren't going to invest. The other thing too is, man, like so many of our customers, they're already using these tools that already have incredible AI features built into them that oftentimes we can just turn on as long as they understand how to use them. Or to your point, as long as good information in is equaling our ability to extract some interesting reporting or interesting signals out. So anyway, I don't know. I think it's an interesting world. Marcus, third pillar of process. You spend like a minute talking about of all these customers you've worked with and of all the stuff that you've done across your career. What's like the one or two biggest things that you've done to kind of build your own customer-focused business leader playbook, but also how do you kind of wrangle tribal knowledge? How have you kind of helped teams with wrangling the how-tos and some of the frequently asked questions? How do you kind of think about process? Spend like a minute or two talking about that.
And I could talk about that all day. I'll just tell you what I tend to tell people is if you're going to do a thing, and let's just say this thing is going to happen 50 times over the next year, how do you want it to occur? Do you want it to be super random and based on how someone feels, looks, whatever today? Or do you want this thing to be uniform and represent your brand the right way? And it stops people cold. So you have to think about, hey, not just it's just working, but like this event is going to happen 50 times. Do you want this thing to be done, hey, the way Adrian would do it one time, the way Marcus would do it one time, the way Chris would do it one time? Or do you want to make sure it's successful? So that's what we do that internally all the time. Hey, how many times is this going to happen? If this is going to happen every week or every month, let's just go ahead and drop a knowledge article in there because someone will ask about it later.
It can happen again.
Yeah, you're going to do this. Like with customers, the only way I can do it very well internally, and then everybody reports to me. It's easy. With customers, whoever I'm talking to has to get it. And what I found is a fraction of people, small fraction, I call it 5 or 10%, get it. That like hey, when you're putting a process together, you're buying utility in the future. And some people, and I think it's a personality thing, just don't like it. Like they just don't like to sit down and write it because they feel like they could be doing something else. Or I tell you this, if they can imagine a scenario where whatever they're doing doesn't fall into it perfectly, then we can't do that.
Yeah.
I think there's just two schools. Like I think it's people who
I agree with you.
It, and yeah.
I've had the incredible fortune of interviewing some incredible business leaders and then sales leaders too. It's funny. So like, you're right. There is two splits. There's like one split, which is like almost like the founder-led sales playbook type of methodology where, wait a minute, if a founder can come in and sort of master his or her selling motion on a smaller sample, and then they're not even salespeople, they're fucking founders, which are different things, more often than not. And then they get the fortune or the day comes where because they've done such a good job of proving product market fit to a smaller sample, then let's say that they can go get their first CRO or their first head of sales, or their first professional salesperson that can come in and take that founder sales playbook and just like multiply it, like just make it like go. So like, it's funny, you've got some people that say you have to do that. And then I've interviewed other people that say it's constant pitch, pivot, listen. So like listening to the next 10 customer calls, listening to the next 10, reasons why a customer says, no, I'm not going to buy it. Listening to the next 10 reasons why a customer says, I'm intrigued, but I'm not going to buy it yet. And then listening to so like there's the other camp of where it's like, no, it's literally going call by call by call by call by call and understanding how to pitch and pivot and listen and tune in. So it's interesting. I think that every business is slightly different. I think every leadership group has a different appetite around that too.
I would tell you this after being smacked in the face with about 4 times internally. If you do the right personality test, you can see it. It's not random. There are people who are process oriented and there are people who are not. Like people who are creative. People who are creative are not going to accept that. They're not going to leave that way. They're not going to, you can tell them whatever you want. And you can watch, like I know somebody's super talented. One of the smartest people I know. You ask this person a question, they're going to talk about the variables. You ask me a question, I'm going to talk about the process. And it doesn't matter what it is. And you can go look at our personality test. My first thing is process orientation. You look at that person, their first thing is freedom. They're not going to do it. And it comes down to like that person's mental wiring and what they want. For me, when I design a business, I see myself outside of it. I don't see myself in it. So I don't make up a bunch of stuff with me in it. Well, if somebody else sees themselves in it and being creative and listening to calls, they're going to go, thou shalt listen to 25 calls.
Yep.
Right, good
Yep,
for you.
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Marcus, let's jump into the fourth pillar of feedback. Talk about, I guess, some of the ways that you have make it simple. Some of the ways that you're regularly looking for and trying to collect or trying to yield more customer feedback, and then what do you do with it? And then talk about your team a little bit. The other day you were telling me some pretty cool stuff about your team, but like, how do you kind of think about how to manage customer and employee feedback with Cloud Trailz?
So for customer feedback, I do something I used to do as a product manager. I just do customer interviews, open-ended questions. I don't do any leading. I don't do any multiple choice. I want to hear people's words. Hey, just tell me what this does. Tell me if you had a magic wand and I needed to do 10 things, what would they be? Tell me how you feel about this screen. Because what you'll start to realize is people will talk and you can pull themes out and go, here's the top 5 problems, but you have to not lead them with, oh, you like reports, oh, you like these metrics, because then you're just getting them to answer your questions. And I learned that studying how to build customer experience programs, because I had to do that in a previous job. So I'll lay down, and it freaks people out when they see the survey, because it's like, what do you mean it's 3 open-ended questions? And it's like, don't worry about it, watch. They're going to do plenty of talking. They're going to do plenty of talking about what they like, what they don't like, and what they'd like you to do.
Yeah.
So I would say we tend to do it like once a year because we're a small company and you're going to get a ton of information. And customers tend to talk about the foundation of what you're doing. They don't talk about a bunch of easy stuff. They talk about like, the interactions, what they get out of it, how to do more future facing stuff. And you have to go, oh, okay, they're talking about how we deliver the service. We got to decide out of the 4 or 5, because you have to go staff that stuff. Like out of the 4 or 5 things that they want, how do you deal with it? And I would say internally, I wrestle with the idea that I'm people's boss. I hate that word because I've had people try to weaponize that word against me. It's just kind of like, hey, shut up, I'm your boss. It's like, hey, you still suck at this though. So being a boss doesn't change anything. I look at myself more of like a coach, and I'm very open to people telling me what I don't do well. It surprises people up front because people are not used to their boss being comfortable with them saying what they don't do well. But I tell people this, you say it anyway. Say it. You say it to not me. So you say it to other people or your spouse or whomever.
Marcus, I remember I love your candor on that, by the way. I love you sharing that. And I, because a lot of people don't say that. They're not candid about that. And what you just made me think about, remember the first time I got my first 360 feedback. I was in New York City. I was working as the head of CX at One Fine Stay. It was like a white glove Airbnb company. And the team there was awesome, super duper duper smart people, right? Like really, really cool company. And it was the first time I ever got 360 feedback, right? And I was running the customer experience team. And that was a hard job because we were dealing with host relations. Now, hosts at One Fine Stay, they owned, multi-million dollar properties. So there was not just any host. There was a high level of expectations, right? These were very successful people. And these were people that knew what they wanted. And then on the guest side, dude, we had rock stars and we had English Premier, we had NBA basketball players, dude. Like we had movies. So like it was a very interesting customer experience to manage because you were dealing with an extremely successful crowd, and then a crowd who understands the finest of life. So like they're used to some of that shit. Anyway, first time I ever got my 360 feedback, the team that I was managing, we were managing all of this customer experience, right? And I remember getting this feedback, and it was the first time I'd ever gone through that. And it was the last time that I didn't literally, if the company that I was working at didn't ask for that in its own organizational way, I would start doing that in like quarterly reports to my team, because that report was the first time that I ever got like, it was a punch in the gut in a way. Like some of the shit I looked at, I was like, what? I fucking thought you loved me, and I thought that everything was good, and I thought we were crushing it. What's going on here? When you looked at, it was the first time for me, and what you're talking about, the candor of like boss and leader, what's leadership really about? How do you make sure that you're leveraging feedback for everybody to get better, the whole freaking business and team to get better? It was the first time that I looked at it, and like as I got through the whole list, I was like, shit. And to your point, there's these 3 things resonate. Shit, everybody kind of said these three things in a way. Shit, by the way, in good and bad. So like, okay, everybody loves these 3 things, so that's great, so that I know I'm doing really well with these things. But everybody said that these 3 things are things that maybe I can get better at. Maybe those are things I got to go back to the chopping mill and fucking get stronger and better and tighter and figure out my rhythm and all that jazz. So you're right, man. It is something for all of our listeners to be thinking about, which is like, no, not everybody cares. Some people don't give a fuck. Let's call it what it is. We've both been in business long enough. Certain people don't care, right? Certain people either achieve a certain level of success, or certain people either believe they have such a high level of IQ that they don't need, that doesn't matter. They understand where they're, so whatever, that's fine. But for the rest of us here down here on planet Earth, it's like, it's something to be thinking about, brother. It's something to be thinking about. It's another feedback thing that as a leader, or as a customer focused business leader, or as an LT member, or as a business owner, it's a cool thing to be kind of like think about.
I'll tell you why I developed this approach. I wasn't always like this, but I worked for somebody who, and I have to be careful, just didn't give a shit about that. The problem is people pick up on it, and you get five or six people, especially in a place where, so in consulting, what tends to happen is there's probably 4 or 5 people who they're just it. They know it. They lead because they can get stuff done. They got charisma, and you got to be really careful about how those people feel about you. You have to be really careful, because if those people turn, they're taking 5 or 6 people with it.
They become carcinogens. It's carcinogenic.
Yeah, and I watched the person just not care what people thought, and it was like, you ever see like one of those things where there's like 100 light bulbs, and then 4 of them go out, and then 5 of them. It's just like, oh my god, like you just see them all going out.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, it's like, oh, and this guy, I looked at him and went, that's going to be me. I'm like him. I know everything. I don't need your help me to ask you anything. And it's just like, I just watched 40, 50 people just give up on somebody. So then I went, oh, okay, when it's my turn, what do I do? Now, one thing I didn't say earlier was I didn't like it. Getting the feedback, it's not stuff I like, because actively hearing about what you suck at is not, what you want to do most of the time. But I started to just sit back and go, okay, number one, I've seen somebody just fall because of this. And number two, if I can't take it or do anything about it, it doesn't actually, me not liking it doesn't eliminate it. If I got big leadership problems, they're still going to happen, and people are going to keep talking about it. So
exactly right.
I'll tell people, like when we do a bi-weekly meeting, I'll tell people, hey, like, so this year, I tried to be the marketing coordinator. Now, do I know anything about marketing? No, I do not, but I felt like I should do it. I told people in the company, I let you guys down. I did something that I shouldn't have done because no one can tell me no about it. I'm going to do it. I'll do it. Right. And then I look up and we hire somebody. This girl has done more stuff in 3 weeks, 9 months. And it's just like, yeah, guys, hey, sorry about that. We should have did this. Good 9 months.
Hey, that's one of the biggest parts of leadership, man. Is it's getting out of the way, and it's putting the right people in the right places and the right subject matter experts in the right areas that are going to drive immediate, measurable impact right out of the gate. So I love it, Marcus. This has been fantastic, brother. Before I let you go, though, couple things. Anything coming up that you guys want to call, that you want to shout out to the CX Nation around Cloud Trailz, things that you guys are doing, or things that are coming up or that are going on, or more importantly, where can people get in touch with you, and where can people learn more about Cloud Trailz?
So right now, everything is on cloudtrailz.com. We're working on, like I said, we hired somebody to do this stuff. So we're working on expanding our marketing, expanding LinkedIn and stuff like that. But right now, everything with us is cloudtrailz.com. If you want to get me directly, it's marcus.smith@cloudtrailz.com. And that covers 98% of the contacting us right now.
I love it. Marcus, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, man. I look forward to seeing what you and the team at Cloud Trailz do in the near future. And huge thanks for coming on the CXChronicles podcast, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Be sure to check out the CXC website. And as always, find us on any of your favorite podcast players, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and more.